I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. Just like the beautiful Miss Anna Vocino. Yeah, we do it every year. We bring in Dan Fogelberg on the last show of the year, and we're going to be studying this song just a little bit because I can't help myself. I have to study it every year. And to help me study the song, and by the way, we're going to talk a little bit about getting, what you guys are going to be doing in the new year. By the way, you want to pay attention to the Wednesday show. That's a brand new show that's coming out on New Year's Day, starring Anna Vocino and Chris Schaffer, where we talk about our New Year's resolutions and everything else, right?
That's right.
You want a fresh, when everybody else has been giving you best ofs and everything. No, not us. We take you right through the holidays, and we're taking you right into January 1st, which is day after tomorrow. So, we're going to do that. Now, Anna, the song is called Same Auld Lang Syne.
Yeah.
And it's Dan Fogelberg. Now, most people today have no idea who Dan Fogelberg is or was back in the day. There was a time, like if I said A&R guy, do you know what A&R stands for, Anna?
Yeah. Acquisition, artistic and record, or something like that. It's the guy who scopes out new talent.
Artist.
That's what I know.
It's artist and repertoire.
Repertoire.
Artist and repertoire. So back in the day, if you wanted to make it in the music business, they would hook you up with an A&R guy, and they wanted to see how deep you rolled, right? Today, you can have one hit, and you're out there, you put your hit up on the thing, and blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, you're the biggest name ever, and then we never hear your name ever again. Back in my day, back in the 70s, and by the way, the 60s, the 50s. So the Beatles, they didn't come here with one hit. When they hit American soil, they were already a big thing, and they had album after album. I mean, and then they got here, they were on the Ed Sullivan Show, and, Elvis, album after album after album. Even pop bands like the Jackson 5, right? They didn't have one hit song. They had albums of hit songs, right? So you had
I feel like, was it the 80s that like the one hit wonders started?
Well, yeah, but even one hit wonders came and went. We still, look, in the 70s, there were a lot of singer-songwriters like Dan Fogelberg. Carole King comes to mind, Joni Mitchell, James Taylor, Jackson Brown, Cat Stevens, Michael Jackson. After the Jackson 5 in 84, he put out Thriller. Right? Thriller wasn't just one song. The album was a big deal. Movies had albums. The movie, we always play Rocky song. The whole Rocky album is an album, right? Yeah. Saturday Night Fever was a complete album of songs, right? So that's what used to be. And in the 80s, we had people like Thomas Dolby that had the song Blinded Me with Science. I don't think Thomas Dolby had any other hit. Boy, I pulled that one. You know what? I almost pulled a hamstring coming up with that one, Anna.
She blinded me with science. That's a fun song, though.
And by the way, artists that were singer-songwriters in the 70s started putting out disco songs in the 80s.
True.
Right? So we saw a lot of that. It was shocking the number of artists that just did disco, right? That were singer-songwriters. So we saw a change. Probably the only person with a repertoire today, and I couldn't name one of her songs, would be one Miss Taylor Swift. I mean, she's had so many hit songs. She just did a tour called Era Tour, where she did songs from each of her eras, and she ain't even 36 years old. Is she 30?
Yeah, it's amazing to me that somebody has eras when they're that young.
Yeah, she's got. I mean, the first time I even heard of her was like in 2003 or four, something like that. She was like a little country crossover poppy kind of thing,
Yep.
and then one thing led to another, and before you know it, she became the biggest star in the world. And apparently, she is apparently a singer songwriter, and she keeps putting out hits. Not for my generation, but that's the idea of a singer songwriter. So Dan Fogelberg was one of those guys, right? That had hit after hit, and same Auld Lang Syne. I looked it up before the show, Anna.
Okay.
That was his number 3 of all of his hits.
Really?
Yeah. On his greatest hits, number 1 was Leader of the Band.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was Sutter's Mill. Number 3, Same Auld Lang Syne. And then Rhythm of the Rain. And then, believe in me, Run for the Roses. Remember that one? That was one about a horse in Kentucky. And, they just go on from there. But number 3 was Same Auld Lang Syne. The song
Can
that
I just
play. Go on.
We're going to talk about real quick. I had to Google Thomas Dolby when you brought him up. Fun fact. In fall of 2014, Thomas Dolby was named Homewood Professor of the Arts at Johns Hopkins University. He's currently the head of the Peabody Conservatory's Music for New Media program.
Really?
Okay. So Thomas Dolby, he's teaching the youths. That's good.
Look,
just give a little shout out to Thomas Dolby. He's still around.
He's still around, still kicking, still, doing. And by the way, I'm not saying anything bad about Thomas Dolby.
No, I thought that was a fun fact about him. I was like, okay.
There was a group from band down under, land down under.
Colin Hay.
Is that who it was?
Colin Hay is the singer-songwriter out of that. His shit is incredible.
Another one that, there was a bunch of hits, the Divinals, and the lead singer of the Divinals should have touched herself more. The hit song was I Touch Myself. Mm-hmm. Her name was Chrissy Amphlett, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
And
she passed away of cancer, right?
She died of breast cancer. She should have touched herself more. By the way, folks, Anna, let me go back to where I can see your face. Have I talked to you about someone in my family?
Yeah, but are you allowed to bring it up?
No.
Okay.
No. How do you know? Did we talk about this?
We talked about it when you and me and Chris recorded.
Yeah. Folks, you know how to see something, say something?
Yeah.
If we get nothing else out of this show today, if you find a lump anywhere on your body, breast,
check it.
testicles,
go check it.
I don't care, like base of your skull, anywhere, go get it checked.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll find out if we could talk about this later on. We're still in the dark as we record this. But don't let a lump hang around for too long, because here I go again, going in the holidays, dealing with someone else from my family who is dealing with it, with cancer. Go find it, man. If you feel something, don't go, I'll get it checked later. Get it checked now. Early detection is your best shot at saving your own life. That's all I'm going to tell you. I didn't mean to bring the show down. This is the
new
show.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that your family member's going through that.
Yeah. So see something, do something. That's my new saying. But anyway, Dan Fogelberg did the song. It was his number 3 song. And I got to tell you, the reason I think I like this song is because it brings me back to when I lived in Donaldsonville. When I was young. It was around when I was in high school. But also because I've had similar things happen to me where I've gone home and run into not so much girlfriends, because I didn't really have a girlfriend in high school. Nobody,
Nobody wanted to be your girlfriend in high school.
Well,
I find that hard to believe.
And you read my book. I was kind of an outcast kid when I was in junior high. And then I became a football star. I grew up in the era of the Friday Night Lights down in the South.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you become a star, then every girl wants to be your best friend and wants to be your girlfriend. But the way I looked at it was, hey, you girls who I love dearly wanted nothing to do with me 5 minutes ago. Now all of a sudden I can tackle the guy with the ball, and your daddy is telling you, hey, that guy's going somewhere on a scholarship. You need to go be nice to him.
Oh my God.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I'm still friends with a lot of these girls, but they'll tell you the same thing. Yeah, we weren't so into Vinnie until we were into Vinnie. And by the way, they would get pissed because I would go across the river. That's right. I lived that remote. I'd go across the Mississippi River, kind of like, Washington. Where did he cross? The Delaware?
The Delaware?
Yeah. With some army men to go fight a battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Across the Mississippi, and I go to
that was you
I go to the East Bank.
with the flag on a frozen river, except for instead of it being frozen, it was alligators.
Alligators, water moccasins, what have you.
Yeah.
Boats, big ships coming right
with
at
a tri-cornered hat.
Yeah.
You meant business.
Yeah, I was rowing that boat. Anyway, I would cross the river, and guess what? The girls over there on the East Bank, around Gonzales, Perryville.
Yeah.
They thought old Vinnie was something else.
Oh, really?
Because they didn't know the Vinnie with the speech. I still had a speech impediment, but it didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
I also had pecs and biceps. Right? I looked pretty good in a pair of Wranglers with my collar on.
Hugging the junk.
Yeah. Yeah. So they didn't care about the speech impediment. They didn't know me when I was that guy. I was a brand new guy to those girls. And guess what? When I brought those girls to the school dances, guess who was upset?
How dare you bring these outsiders who are paying attention to you?
Exactly.
You need to come alone so we can ignore you.
You show up with Susan Raley from the West Bank, from the East Bank. Come on. Come on. She had the Farrah Fawcett, do. Yeah. She was a smoke show. She was a 16-year-old.
See, this is why kids got to get out of their like home environment. You know what I mean? Because you think that like that's going to be who you are for the rest of your life, and you gotta get out of there.
Yeah, a lot of depression and everything that goes on. I didn't like where I was. All I had to do was cross the river.
That's it.
There were girls that had never heard my name before, right?
Yeah.
I used to go to Baton Rouge with the Robert brothers because they would show cattle and 4-H and the whole thing. My buddy Benji. And Benji wasn't Robert, he was Benji, And I'd go to the 4-H thing, and I'd run into these girls at LSU at the 4-H, showing off their sheep and their heifers and the whole thing. Those girls thought it was pretty cute.
Yeah.
Right? So, I wasn't going to go play in a pit where no one wanted me to play. I found a different pit.
Yeah.
And then brought those girls over, and everyone got upset. What's he doing? Yeah. Well, I'd like to have a date to dance with at the dance too. How about that?
How about them apples?
Matter of fact, the only girl I brought to freshman and sophomore homecoming dance was one Miss Allison. Oh, I can say her last name because we're friends, and she's a wonderful woman. Allison Sternfels. She came to our school as a freshman. She didn't know me before that.
Right. So she had no preconceived notions.
Now, I must have done her up real good because it turns out she was a lesbian. Turns out we were both into the same thing.
That's all right. You're a perfect beard.
Yeah. And by the way, I got to tell you, Allison, she was plenty cute back then and still plenty cute today. She's been with the same woman since college.
Yeah.
I don't mean to.
She sounds like the most lesbian then. She's long-term, immediately U-Haul first date.
I'm pretty sure that she met her wife at a softball tournament. I'm not making that part up.
That's amazing.
I'm not making that part up. Allison was one of the best athletes I've ever known. She was, and whenever I look at, Allison online, she and her wife, they're always out on the boat. They're still water skiing. These are 60-something-year-old women.
Yeah.
They're water skiing. You see them snow skiing. She's still doing it. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
So, the only girl I took her to freshman and sophomore homecoming dance. I was one of the stars on the football team. And still, I went, you know what? This girl doesn't know me from Adam. I know she's not into me. I don't know why yet. Turns out
I'm going to work on her.
She wasn't picking up what I was putting down.
No. She was hoping that you wouldn't put it down, you know?
And I was a
Just
perfect
keep it
gentleman.
to yourself, sir.
Yeah, you just stay over there on that side of it. You know? Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, we go parking and we just
So your Auld Lang Syne is running into Alison Sternfeld and meeting her wife.
Yeah. Hey, Allison, can you bring your wife over? I can watch you guys do something. Yeah.
Oh,
No, but
Vinnie, you made it cheap.
Allison, I didn't mean to say that. But
Sorry,
here's the
Allison.
deal. Here's the deal. There are other girls that, I've been in Baton Rouge, not so much on New Year's Eve or anything. I'm at the store shopping or something for my parents over across the river because that's where the good grocery stores are. And I'll run into them, right? I'll run into these women. They're in some cases grandmothers now, but I used to run into them before they were grandmothers. And it would be like, yeah, I hear you went to New Orleans and you ended up in LA and you're doing well for yourself. It's like, yeah, you should have hung around. And that's why I think I like this song. So has that ever happened to you? Not so much in a lover situation, but where you go home and someone goes, like, let's say you're back where you were when you were a kid. I guess you maybe don't even go there anymore because but do you ever run into someone and they go, hey, Anna, and you don't recognize them at first?
I ran into somebody today dropping off packages at UPS for Christmas. And it was a woman I had just seen at a board meeting on Monday night. And I was like, oh, hi. And I love this woman, but I was like, oh, and it took me a second. I'm so bad. I'm in my own world all the time. And so when I saw her, then I realized who it was. And then I went up watching her baby so she could go do her errands. But it was like one of those things where I was like, I didn't recognize her. I just seen her Monday night at dinner. So I was like, and it's Thursday. So that's where my brain is.
Yeah, that happens like fish out of water, right? It's like,
oh yeah, but if it's somebody from a long time ago, and I'm always like, where do I know? Here's the thing: what I remember, I'm amazing with names. I always remember names. I'm great at names. I'm not the best at faces, which is a weird thing.
Okay,
like I remember. Oh, do you remember we met? Jonathan, blah blah blah, at the thing, and we met, and he said this, and he's married to Suzanne, and Lauren's always like, how do you remember their names? I go, I remember everybody's name. But their faces, if I saw them, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's Jonathan. You know what I mean?
I can't tell you anyone's name, face.
Yeah.
Now, when I'll go home, there are guys I grew up with. And of course, I left when I was 18. And everyone gets older and everyone gains weight. Like, I'll be at my brother's shop. And I tell Michael, I said, look, when someone walks in here, say their name. Go, hey there, John.
Yeah, exactly.
And or if you see him coming, and say, hey, that's Joe Fry over there, or John Smith or whatever. Say their name to me. Don't assume I'm going to remember, because something happens to your brain, especially when people age and you haven't seen them through the aging process. I'm sure I don't look like me to them.
Right.
At all. Last time most of those people saw me, I weighed 225 pounds. I was built like a brick shit house with a 21-inch neck. As a matter of fact, sometimes
you sound frightening.
Well, look, sometimes I'll say, hey, it's Vinnie, and they'll literally, because they don't know what else to say, they'll say, what happened to you? Can you believe?
Because you got skinnier, like less muscular.
I look like a different.
Do you still have cancer?
It's like, hey, I heard you almost died. Did you actually die?
Are you a ghost?
Can I go grab 2 photos in this room?
Yes, and I'll do a Villa Capelli ad.
Do it. All right. So
you want to take a break for our mid-roll?
Let's do a mid-roll, and then I'm going to come out of mid-roll. You do Villa Capelli. I'm going to go grab two photos.
Villa Capelli. Villa Capelli is the best olive oil on the planet. I know we say that, but you do have to try it. People don't believe us still all these years later. They've been a sponsor of this podcast for, I don't know, over 10 years. This podcast has been going for 12, 13 years now. Villa Capelli is real extra virgin olive oil, 100% extra virgin olive oil. And if you think you've been having olive oil and then you have Villa Capelli, the realization will hit you that you haven't been having real olive oil. Make it a New Year's resolution to splurge on the things that matter. Real olive oil matters. Grocery store olive oil can be cut with other oils. It can have deodorizers. It can have chlorophyll or colorants. You don't want any part of it. You want real extra virgin olive oil because you're going to be making salad dressings at home. You're going to be marinating things at home. You're going to be frying up meats and vegetables in the pan at home, and you want the best quality stuff. Villa Capelli has a discount code, and that discount code is Vinnie, Vinnie, and it will get you 10% off your order, each and every order. Get your cart size around $140 to $150. Use that discount code Vinnie, get your 10% off, and you'll still qualify for the free shipping. That's the thing. Get the 3-liter tin, get some flavored oils, get some salts. You can't have too many of these things to dress up your meals at home. But the important thing is that Villa Capelli olive oil is going to become a staple in your household. And then when you book a consult with Vinnie, or you write me on Twitter, write Vinnie on Twitter, you're going to say, oh my God, I can't believe that I waited so long to get this olive oil, because it is truly the best. It's all I use at home. It's all Vinnie uses at home, and you're going to love it.
Yeah, it's the best olive oil ever. Anna, I have 2 photos. The first photo.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm so excited.
The first one, I'd only been out of Donaldsonville for exactly 1 month. I was 18 years old. And this was right after we did, August practice, my freshman year in college. And we had to go take photos in the Superdome. So I'm 18 years old. You can see here that my neck, I don't know if you can really tell, my neck is wider than my head.
Yeah, you're beefy.
And
that's a beefy photo. And I love that they made you pose
right
in the position.
Yeah, like, hey, you're a linebacker, so squat down. And by the way, you can't really tell my quads are at that point like 30.
I can kind of tell your quads look enormous.
Yeah, I had huge legs.
Huge thighs.
Yeah, and they only got bigger as I got stronger. So that's 18 years old.
Wow.
Right? So when I left Donaldsonville, that's what people were used to. 1 year later, 19 years old. This. Can you see that? That's a 19-year-old me. I
mean, you look 25 there. You don't look like a 19-year-old.
Right.
You look like you could be 25 to 30 there.
So that's
like, I can't imagine you got carded for alcohol.
Oh God, no. And nobody carded down
Nobody
there.
Nobody carded anyway.
It's the Deep South. So that's what I looked like when I left Donaldsonville. So that's what was in everyone's mind.
Right.
I didn't really go home a whole lot. And, I played ball there for, 3 years. I didn't play my 4th year. And then I got hired as a strength coach and immediately started trying to get that football weight off of me. But I never really came home. I was in New Orleans. I was in my life. I was, building a business, my training business and the whole thing. I was at Newman School. And everything, when I didn't have time to do anything else, I was still pumping iron, but I did more bodybuilding style work. I didn't do and then I started riding the bike like a crazy man. And the story, parked my car, right? So when people would run into me, guys and girls, no one recognized me. I was unrecognizable to anyone. So this song used to happen to me a lot. So let's go on and play a little more of it here. They're at the checkout stand and they're embarrassed because the conversation's dragging. Right.
They need alcohol to get their conversation
like, hey,
going.
you want to go have a drink now? We have nothing to say to each other. You want to go have a drink? That's the part that always gets me about this song. But now, all right, 2 old friends are going to go have a drink. And this is the part that's coming up reminds me of my brother Mark. Because Mark will say, yeah, no, I don't really drink. But you'll find out that these people couldn't find an open bar, but it did not stop them from having a drink.
No, they did it. They made it work.
Anna, in past years, I never picked up on this.
But the relationship between an architect keeping her warm and safe and dry in the building that he designed for.
I think we picked up on that before. The architect, and of course, he could build something that's warm, safe, and dry. But there was a time in the 70s. All right, I'll give you the best example. You ever watched the Brady Bunch?
Oh, yeah.
What was Mike Brady's job?
Architect.
He's an architect. Architect used to be like the rock star of what you could be.
But I think it still is. And here's case in point. Andrea Anders and I were in Kauai on a girls' trip.
Right.
And she said, I don't want to tell people I'm an actor. It feels very vapid. I'm going to say something else.
Right.
And she goes, I'm going to tell people I'm an architect. And then literally 5 minutes later, we're meeting this nice couple and they're like, what do you do? And she's like, I'm an architect. He's like, oh, very cool. What firm? And she goes, I'm not an architect. Like she couldn't maintain the charade. And I was like, you need to come up with a backstory if you're going to do this.
Yeah. The problem.
But yeah, so architect in
is,
her mind was the most respectable profession. Certainly more respectable than an actor.
Remember there was a show, How I Met Your Mom?
Yeah. I never saw it, but are they architects in that?
Well, the protagonist in that show was, one of the characters was an architect.
Yeah.
It's still like architect is like, I guess you're
think about it. You have to be good with design. You have to be good with math.
Yeah.
You have to be good with keeping people safe and following the rules, but also making something beautiful. Like that's a lot of skill to go into being an architect.
And, the problem with Andrea Anders, if people don't know who she is, she's a well-known actress. She's probably Anna's best friend or is she best friend?
Oh, yeah.
Andrea is one of these quietly sexy women who happens to also be a funny ass tomboy. Like
she can deliver a joke like nobody's.
Oh my God. You want to hang out like just to hang out with Andrea Anders is a fun time, just
Very
all the way around. But the one thing Andrea Anders, if you say to me, name one thing she can't do. By the way, if you saw the show Ted Lasso, she plays the wife.
Ted's wife, yeah.
Yeah, Ted's
wife. And she's right now Sebastian Maniscalco's wife on that show Bookie, that second season or third season or whatever just came out.
Oh, wow. All right.
So she's on that too.
She plays everyone's wife. The thing about the one thing, if you said, Vinnie, name one thing Andrea Anders is terrible at, I would, without even knowing, I would go, lying. I know she can't lie because Andrea Anders will tell you the truth, even when you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Right?
She does that thing. I'm like, oh, are we playing the game? Remember when Anna was an asshole? She'll be like, remember that time you said that horrible thing? And I'm like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I remember it.
Anna, can let's bring her back on the show in 2025.
We need to.
She was everyone's favorite guest when she was on the show.
She's very fun.
In a long time. So, all right. So let's continue. She married an architect, which means she did well.
Yeah, she did well.
Yeah.
He's a reliable guy. He's got some, upper middle class social echelon.
And that used to mean something in this country. Not everybody wanted to be a millionaire or anything else. You wanted to be a rock solid guy. I'll tell you another rock solid career back then.
What's that?
Airline pilot. Would you?
Yeah, they don't make what they used to, unless I was telling you about my friend who's the pilot to the billionaire. Then he does very well.
Yeah, and I have a buddy who flies 747s and all that. Like we grew up together, right? But he flies it for a private company.
Yeah.
So he's done quite well in his life. And, he's just a solid dude all the way around, right?
But that used to be, and you'd want to nab yourself an airline pilot. Ladies, get you an airline pilot.
Yeah. Just like my buddy Benji. You wanted a Benji. And Benji was easy on the eyes.
They always are.
Yeah. And
show me an ugly airline pilot. It's not possible. They're all attractive.
I hung out with Benji a few years back. The guy's still working out. He's 62 years old. He's still hammering it. Guy's in good shape.
Good for Benji.
Yeah. Benji was a dude. And you're going to walk around with the name Benji?
You better be buff.
You better be good looking, and you better be an airline pilot. Right.
That's it. That's your only option.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I know we're going to get back to the song, but speaking of working out, are you going to open back up the VIP group? Like, do you know how long you're going to open it up for? Is it already open at the time of airing? Because this is New Year's Eve. Yeah,
we're going to open it folks. If you want to go in right now and do VIP, it is open. Get in. We're selling a hat. We're not giving the hat away because it costs me a shit ton of money to make hats. Yeah. But it's a special, NSNG VIP hat. It's a trucker cap. It was designed by our very own Leona. And she did an excellent job with this. She's the one that designed this hat and all of the NSNG hats.
She's so good at it.
But I said, look, I want an antiquated kind of look on this hat. And we worked together. It's got a big patch on the front. You'll love it. So go sign up for VIP, and then you will be able to order the hat if you would like. So it's all there for the taking.
Does everybody see the hat? Is it like already shown, like the design? Because I've seen it, but
it's in the group.
it's up there. Okay.
Yeah, it's in
That's
the group.
cool.
All right, go on.
So no, I was gonna say, because you and I were doing this is gonna air New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're not gonna record again until the big Monday show, which is always the first Monday of the year.
Right.
That's when people come back. They're like, okay, hi, I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready to
be
commit.
advertising the VIP on that, because
Okay, good.
VIP has helped more people lose more weight. I mean, it's
Amazing.
When I started that group a year ago, I can't believe it's been a whole year. I wouldn't have ever thought. I was like, people won't be into this. I don't know. But it's an accountability group. I'm in there talking to people. I want to start doing more videos, but I'm not going to start doing that until I have, all of my company squared away. As you know, Anna, I had to take them all over and do it all myself. And I'm not going to go in and try to do something half-assed when I'm trying to get the vitamins and everything back on track. And we're doing that. You'll see by the time the show comes out, we're getting there. So with that in mind, let's continue with, I got to tell you something about that. I have a friend I grew up with. He deals with cattle, right? He buys and sells cattle. And he looks the part. Like if you watch Yellowstone.
Yeah, he looks like one of those guys.
Yeah, Boyd's got the boots on, the Wrangler jeans and the whole thing. And he was I think he was opening up one of his fields because his guy had a bunch of cattle or something. This guy that also went to high school with us that, Boyd just generally hadn't seen or dealt with. And this was probably 10, 12 years ago. And Boyd said, yeah, I'll meet you out at this, where I keep, to show you the land where your cattle are going to be. And he goes, I'll meet you there at 4. So Boyd is sitting there in this truck, and this guy gets out of his truck, and Boyd can see him in his rearview mirror. And he sees the guy he hadn't seen since high school. And he goes, man, barely recognize him. The years have been rough on him. And so Boyd gets out of his truck, and the guy that got out of the other truck looks at Boyd. He goes, Jesus Christ, Boyd, the years have been rough on you. So a lot of times you think, oh my God, look at that guy. He ain't doing so well. And the guy said the same thing back to him. Right. So that's how guys talk, by the way.
And listen, we all think that, and there gets to be a certain age where everyone just starts to look old.
Yeah.
But you think that you don't look old. So like you see people I see people, and now our joke in the house is you see someone who looks really old on TV, and I'm like, that guy's probably younger than we are. I say that to Lauren. That guy's probably 42. Let's be honest.
That's the crazy thing. When I'm watching my Hallmark movies right now, like I'll see like it's like, while I'm watching, I'll stop it and Google the age, the cast. In the age of the parents of the people. And it's like, man, these people look really old, right?
Right.
And they'll be like 55, 54. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're 10 years younger than me or 8 years younger than me. And they're playing the grandparents in this thing. I saw one the other day and I went, oh, thank God, it was Patrick Duffy. And I went, thank God, they finally got a parent that's actually older than me. Turns out he was playing the grandfather. It's like
Patrick Duffy. I was thinking of who's the other one
Dempsey.
From Grey's Anatomy. Dempsey. I was like, wait, Patrick Dempsey's my age.
But he would be playing, if he was in a Hallmark movie, think about it. Patrick Dempsey used to be a heartthrob 5 minutes ago. He would be playing a parent now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's how.
Sometimes the parents are hotter than the stars of the Hallmark movie.
What do you mean sometimes? Almost every time. I'm not kidding.
I agree.
I am not kidding. And I'm going to tell you something else. Some of the stars, and this is going to sound controversial coming out of my mouth, Anna, but some of the stars are a bit dumpy. The girls are. You know, they're a little dumpy, right?
You mean dumpy, like not attractive?
No, they're very attractive.
Oh,
But, you know, you'll look at Allison Sweeney, right? She's been around for a long time as an actress.
yeah.
You know, she's not, they'll have her next to a male co-star who's like Rambo ripped. Like all the guys for some reason are Rambo ripped.
Hasn't she kind of famously struggled with her weight though?
I think she has, but all of the girls, like this girl, I want to say Charbet or whatever her name is. She's this little, she's
Lacey Chabert.
Yeah, she's a Cajun girl. She's from
That makes sense. I was going to say she's either from Quebec or Baton Rouge
or Louisiana.
With that name, with that surname.
Yeah, she's got Cajun parents, and she's not very tall, but they all have some weight on them. But the parents are like my age and Serena's age, and they're built like us. Like the parents are old, you know, soap stars. You know, most of them are old. You know, if you go look them up, they're all in soap operas, and they're all lean. So the older actors who go, oh, I got to stay lean for the camera, they're really lean. And then the kids, the Lacey Chabaz and the Allison Sweeneys, and all beautiful women, by the way. No one's kicking these girls out of bed.
Good for them. They don't feel like they have to starve themselves to be on camera then.
Right. Which is good. That's a good thing. But you always take note that, the younger generation is okay with the extra weight, whereas the older ones are staying, if I want to get a job, I'm going to have to stay thin. Because I was working in that Hollywood thing, working with actors and actresses for so long, I'm cognizant of it.
Right.
That's why I'm looking at it going, you 65-year-old woman who's playing a mother, you would have been calling me before you did the shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'd like to know more about Allison Sweeney, because I find her to be one of the sexiest women out there.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my God.
She was on a soap, right? Wasn't she on Days of Our Lives?
I don't know much about her. I just know that she is.
I can't Google from my phone because I shut everything down on the computer.
I can't take my eyes off of her. She's got these.
Let's wrap this show up.
Huh?
I'll Google. We have to wrap this show up. I'm going to Google Allison Sweeney.
Let me play a little more of Auld Lang Syne.
More of the song.
Yeah. So there they are. They're in the parking lot getting drunk. They're toasting with beer. Okay, let's see what happens.
That is the sappiest song ever written.
And that was his number 3 greatest hit.
I love it.
Yeah, it never gets old for me. I play it once a year. I will not listen to that song, Anna, until we play it again next year at the same time.
Amazing.
Yeah, it never
is epic.
Allison Sweeney, can you give me some?
Allison Sweeney has been in 30 Hallmark movies.
Wow. Well, she does a series called, like where she plays a detective or like murder or something. That's her main thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it says on the internet. I did not know that.
Was she in soap? She was in soap operas at some point?
At some point, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And by the way, I read a thing that said that Hallmark is getting rid of some of the older actresses, like their ageism on these girls.
Oh, I believe it.
So Allison will probably take on a different role because she's a great actress. And I'm sure Lacey Chabert is going to take on a different role.
I feel like Lacey Chabert is young. Allison Sweeney's a couple years younger than me. I feel like Lacey Chabert is like 10 years younger than me.
Well, they mentioned Lacey Chabert in the article, saying that she's aging out.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird.
Chabert and I used to have the same voiceover agent. So we would be, she's 42. She's 9 years younger than I am.
Wow. Yeah.
She's aging out. She's pretty.
Yeah. They're all pretty. I mean, that's the thing. They're all girl next door.
Yeah.
Right. So there you have it, folks. This is the last show that we're recording this year. Check in on Wednesday. That's the first. It's me and Anna and Chris Schaffer.
Let's rally. Let's rally, people.
It's a real show. And Anna Vocino has annavocino.substack.com on the 15th of January.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
17 days. Anna and I will be together. I can't wait to actually wrap my arms around you and give you a hug.
I know. It's
will give
literally
you
been
a big wet
since
kiss.
before you moved. Oh, no, I did see you for 2 seconds and when we were in Austin.
That was it. I mean,
Yep.
we don't see each other live anymore.
No.
And I can't wait to be with Anna. We're going to be at something bookstore.
Bold Forks Books on January 15th. I have a Facebook invite posted, and it has the link, or you can go to boldforksbooks.com because you do have to get an event ticket.
Yeah.
You have to get a ticket for it. So, they're paying to have their staff stay open late so we can have this event, have this meetup. And I think if you pay $10, you get in. If you pay $30, you get a book. And I'm bringing a whole box of Villa Capelli samples. I have about 30 in there. So the first 30 people who come get one of those. I wish I could bring more, but I'm flying in.
Because I'm taking one.
Yeah, 29 people.
And by the way, Anna, I own stock in Anna now. I'm just going to be open about. She has this thing. Tell people how they can find. Are you still doing that? Because
we're going to be raising. We are still raising. We're closing in on 275,000 raised.
Wow,
which is insane and awesome. And I have a big retail announcement, and I don't want to say it yet until I know exactly.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't jinx.
Really good, you guys.
We'll be talking about that.
This company is going to the next level. Yeah, we'll talk about it next time when I'm able to say it. But let me put it this way. I pitched Albertsons yesterday. We're pitching Publix right now. We are in some serious conversations with some very big retailers. So we need investment. And the reason we need investment is because it costs money to get on grocery store shelves and to do trade spends and to, market and we're going to launch the cheese crisps. We're going to launch, we're doing repackaging the spices into the tins, the McCormick style metal tins.
Yeah.
And we're getting those on grocery store shelves as well. So we have big goals for this company. You can own a piece of it. I know Debbie she can post the link, or you can go to eathappykitchen.com and it says invest in Eat Happy Kitchen. It's really easy to find if you want to buy a piece of the company. So thank you to everybody who's invested.
This is not Kickstarter. You actually own a piece of the company.
Exactly.
I own this stock just like I own
a donation. It's an investment.
And every other stock I own. Yep. Right. I own a piece of this, and I'm very proud of that stock. And I can't wait for this company to go big, because if you get this is like getting in on an IPO, basically.
Yeah.
Right. And if this company, if Anna sells this company down the road for $500 million, your little piddly money that you put in is going to be worth a lot.
It'll have a nice return.
Yeah. So
listen, we're playing the long game. It's not going to happen next year or even the year after. It's going to be a few
you're not putting so much money in. You put a small amount of money in here. I put more than the initial that you put in, but not much more. Mm-hmm. And so it's like an IPO. If this thing pops in about 3 years, boom, I'm sitting purdy.
Yeah. And so thank you to everybody who believes in the company, and people have stepped up in a big way. It's shocking. It's shocking and awesome and humbling. And I take it very seriously.
Absolutely.
I am a steward for your investment, and I intend to grow this big, because we're on a mission. We want good, clean food available to people across the country.
That's right. You know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go there, go to VinnieTortorich.com. If you don't shop on Amazon, if you're those 2 or 3 people in the country, go to VinnieTortorich.com and rate and review this podcast. This is how new people will find the show. So, on behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with just a little bit more